It's a boat. It has an engine. And yes, I know it's not a 1UZ, but I think that's kind of the point of this video. I've just wired this thing in. Got a Link Monsoon. I haven't done the dash yet. I haven't got the earth done properly yet. The owner is a mate of mine. He was meant to be doing that. He's either very shy or he's not here. And it's the latter. I have the laptop. I have my chair because it's probably going to take a while. We've managed to fit it all in that little box because I like cramming things into little boxes. I've got coils. So this is a 2AZ Toyota engine. There's an external fuel pump. There's a fuel filter because it didn't have a fuel filter. Fuel filters are important. We should have those. This boat was running, I think I've got some of the loom. Just let me find the loom, eh? This has been pulled apart, but as you can see, that was the style at which the wiring was in. It was not very pretty. It didn't go well, and it had actually stopped. So it didn't go at all. And my mate brought it to me and said, let's fix this up. And I got it and sorted some wiring. What we're actually going to do today is we're going to set up a tune profile. And I'm using this one because I can't cheat and just use one of the 1UZ ones that I've used before. And the concept is the same no matter what you're doing. It's just a tune profile. We'll put something together to make it run. It's not that hard. We've done a couple of things different. Air temp sensor. It's they suggest just before the throttle body, or thrust before the throttle butterfly. Yeah, it's so close. It's right beside the throttle butterfly. We've checked it won't touch, and I've used these fellas. Let's have a look. Those ones. So they're a Bosch combined pressure temperature sensor. There's not a lot of information on these, on guys that have used them or tried them. Some sites say don't mount them directly to the engine. One's screwed into the head. Now, they're both screwed into the head. Some people say they should be mounted on a 45-degree angle. Well, there's an angle because the motor's on an angle. But I think it's a 45 away, not that way. Bosch generally don't make crap products. Generally. So we'll suck it and see. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I've got a heap of work to correct what I've done. I chose a Monsoon, 4-cylinder, 4 injectors, 4 ignition, 6 outputs. It was just enough. The dash became my problem. And we might discuss that as I'm doing the video of setting up the profile. It's VVTi. It was just set up on a switch. Hopefully I'll get some idle speed to work. I've got a Bluetooth dongle in here as well on the CAN bus. Who put the sticker on here? Interface. Yeah, if it doesn't work, then I want to hit people interface. It's plugged in anyway, so I can swap to different ones. And I chose that one because it's only because it's small. I haven't run the vacuum hose in yet. There it is. So we've got to get a T for the fuel pressure rig that someone's added. It actually would have been far easier for someone just to make it a returnless system with a fuel filter with a regulator in it. Well, that's how I would have done this one, but that's okay. We'll make it work. So let's get into the laptop and put a profile in it, make this thing run. Rude squeezing up behind this. When I went in, it told me it was locked, which was a little bit of a problem if you're trying to do it. So I'll contact the dealer, which happens to be me, and I'll unlock it. So I pop my unlock code in, push unlock. Oh, that's accepted. So the first thing I'm going to do right now is to save a copy of this map. Okay, file, save as, and I'm actually hoping that in here in tuning maps I've started a folder for Nathan's boat. Base file to get it going in there. So this is actually going to be base monsoon file. Okay, so I have cheated a little bit and I have started some numbers. So I'm going to open that other number, that profile. I think profiles are really good. Base file to get it going. Open. Yes, I do. Right, I've also got my piece of paper with all my pinouts on it. Hey, yes, I do want to store that. Configuration, we'll look at the configuration first. It's a 4-stroke, good. Description, Nathan's boat. And it is a it's a small boat. Okay, firing order 1, 3, 4, 2. So we're correct there. That's good. We'll go down. Now, I want to check some inputs first. We're just going to very quickly run over the fueling. It's on traditional. It's on a map. That'll do for now. I'm not so happy with that. We might put some new numbers into the airflow, the lambda target. So that is, if it was running an auction sensor where it's targeting, I like to put it in anyway because it helps when I'm tuning it, because I can have the lambda target up in a screen and so I can see what's going on. Should we do an injector test? We probably should while we're doing it, eh? I think I'll come back to that. I want to do my temperature inputs. Well, actually, you can see I've got some temp inputs here. So I'm going to pop down to analog. And this is in the G4X software. And it's similar to the older softwares, but some stuff can be in some different places. So if I pop onto, we'll go back to configuration, sorry. In configuration, it's got this help file. And so that can be really, really helpful, which is what it's for. And then I bring up one that's got no help exists. So it's from analog temperature 1, which is where it should be. These high and low errors are if you want it to bring up a fault code or a check engine light. And I do. I wonder if I look in runtime values if I actually have some voltages. I do. Look at that. So under analog temperature here, it's sitting at 3.52 degrees. No, volts, sorry, volts. So I can quite happily put this at 4.5. That's the low one. No, the low. I'm not expecting it to go below 0.5. but I'll go on the safe side at the moment, 0.25, and high error 4.5. $1K, 80 degrees, and standard NTC. Now, if we just error value of 80 degrees, if I just pop into here, oh, it's come down to 22 degrees. A moment ago, it was actually showing 80. I think if we go down here, come on, down here, 0 there, 0 there, and you can see it actually brings up an error value because the numbers in that analog temperature were wrong. If I put this as 5, that turns off all fault codes. So you can't have 0, 0, you can have 0, 5, and that turns them off. Turns the check engine light or the fault off. I'm going to go 0.25, oh, not 25, 0.25, and I'm going to go 4.5. Might go a little bit higher actually. 4.95. It's the 1K internal resistor. Error value is at 80 degrees. So that's, if it faults, it brings up, it'll sit to 80 degrees. One trick, set that above your fan temperature. I'm going to put in some codes in here and have an engine warning output. So I'm actually going to set it above that value. It's going to be 106. So if the temperature sensor is unplugged or it fails, it goes to 106, and that will bring on the dash warning light. I'll bring that down. It'll be massaged to suit. I've also got to make sure that will start bringing in some rev limiters on this particular setup because it's a boat. We're on a boat. This table's weird. Okay, back to configuration. Next we've got the air temp, and they're under GPs. Idle air temp. It's on analog temperature 2, and it's actually showing fault codes. If you look over here, we've got fault codes, and on the runtime values, we've got fault codes, temp 2. Same deal, we've got 0 and 0. So we're going to go 0.25, 0.25. We're going to go 4.95, 1K, and 30 degrees with a standard Bosch NTC. Perfect. That has cleared that fault code. So I can actually go up here, clear ECU fault codes, and that will get rid of some, but not all of them. And I'm going to store, at this point, I'm going to save, and I'm going to store to the ECU. And I just tend to start with the 2 temp inputs. Not really sure why I do that. That's the way I do it. Okay, next one, map sensor. Internal. Filter is medium. Pretty happy. Let's do a map sensor calibration. Map sensor calibration. Yes, I do. And it's successful. That's cool. That was easy. Oil temperature. No, we're going to go throttle position next. Analog volt 3. That's where I always put it. Let's have a look here. Tuning. Runtime. TPS here. 0.66. And we've probably got a percentage. Doesn't help me there. If I go into tuning, 3.8%. So we need to calibrate that TPS. I'm going to put in some faults as well, but we'll do that in a minute. We'll calibrate it first. Again, we've actually got a help file. Are we moving? So I'm perched awkwardly on the side of the boat. ECU controls, TPS setup, depressed to the fully open position. Got it. Okay. Oh, let's do that again. I got it wrong. TPS setup. Bit of practice helps. So it's all the way open. Okay. Closed. Okay. Let's see how it looks. It's at 0. We just span it up. 99.9. Oh. Yeah. I'm happy with that. Store to that ECU. Removing again. Hit my fingers. Oh, righto. So I'm going to do some other pressures. Input pins. Temp 1, ECT. We'll bring this over so I can see it, eh? Here we go. Let's get that out of the way. We're still working okay? We're looking good? ECT, IAT. AN Volt 1 is block pressure. AN Volt 2 is oil pressure. So let's have a look into that. And so you have to tap on it. So you left click on it. So we've got AN Volt 1. Low. Again, we'll put in some safeties. And this is going to go in the block pressure. I'm hoping it's going to work for what I want, that it will bring up a fault if it loses pressure in the cooling system. I've never done that before, but we're going to give it a try. Yes, that's right. And I put in it as a linear calibration too. I'm hoping that I've actually put some numbers in for linear calibration too. As you can see, I haven't. Nothing. So what is that block pressure actually reading at the moment? Sorry, I'm in the wrong place. There we go. Runtime values. Analog inputs. Block pressure is 0.5. 0.5 of a volt, which is 0. Funny that, eh? Funny that it's at 0. Alright, so I need to find a calibration table for that sensor. Just give me a moment, I will find one. So here I have the calibration for that pressure sensor. It's a Bosch combined pressure and temperature. Here's the readings for the temperature side. I've used standard Bosch NTC. So we can go right down to -40, up to 140. We're sitting here 1600, around about 30. Oh, we're 22, aren't we? So we're about there, and it's negative temperature coefficient, so it's going to reduce in ohms as the temperature increases. Yes, I got it from EFI Solutions in Australia. I actually would normally shop at MSEL for these things. I didn't know Richard had them. He doesn't have the calibration on his website. So here we go. Here, So 0 is 0, 0.5 is 0, and 4.5 is 1000 kPa. So we're going to plug some numbers in there. We're going to put VOSCH combo pressure. We'll label it so we know what it is. So 0.5 here, 4.5 here. It's pressure. That's 0. Probably don't need to change that one. And 1000 kPa. Done. And that's on linear calibration 2. We'll go back to oil pressure. .25, 4.95. Just adding some error values. We're going to go with 0 because we want lights and warnings. We're not on linear calibration 1, we're on linear calibration 2, I believe. Let's just check here. Linear calibration 2, yep. No help on this file. No help on this topic exists. Oh, no help exists on this topic. Right, that's oil pressure. Oil temperature is on the same sensor. Now, I've added an external pull-up to give me this extra one. I'm going to put some error values in here. Again, we probably want to put some warnings in. So if this faults, it's going to 101, and I'll put that as a warning for the buzzer. And Bosch MDC. Let's see what temp we've got. So we look in our runtime values under general. We've got oil temperature, 22 degrees. ECT, 22 degrees. Air temp is 18. And I made a slight blooper there. It's on Bosch NTC. It possibly is going to be better on Delphi AC. See what happens there. Now it says it's 25. Now it's not unusual for temperature sensors to be a little bit different. I'm not too concerned about that. This is the correct calibration, so we'll leave that there at the moment. If it's like 10 degrees out, then I might start questioning it. Oil pressure is reading nothing, and we're going to do the same thing with that block pressure. And analog, we tap on there, source. So there's Cal Table 2. So that should be correct because it's the same sensor as I used for the oil pressure. Table 2. Good. So I've done block pressure. And I've done oil pressure. And I think I got confused on those two, didn't I? I'm not worried. Right. That's some analog inputs done. I've actually added a digital input as well. So I've done oil temp, air temp, block pressure, oil pressure. I've done my AN volt, my TPS, and my map sensor. So that's my analog voltages done. Now reading, ready to move on to triggers. I think, should we do our digitals at this point? And then I'll come back and we'll do our, now let's call that a day. Let's call that done for the moment. So that's our analog inputs done. I'll come back and do some digital inputs in a different video, and then I'll come back and do some triggers and do some auxiliary outputs and do some testing and stuff like that. I hope this has also helped in getting a feel for the software. It's pretty straightforward once you've done a few. You kind of work your way around it. This new software with the G4X, it's a little bit different in the way it's laid out, but the concept is the same. And if you're trying to find stuff, you've always got the search function up here as well. Hope this was helpful. We'll talk to you again soon. Catch you later.